Hello, and welcome to this crochet tutorial on how we'll make these bikini bottoms. These bikini bottoms are all done with single crochet and a chain stitch for a corset side. You'll also see that we have tassels on the end. In the description, you will also find a link to make the red bralette. Come join me as we come and make our crocheted bikini bottoms together. The materials and the tools that we will need here, I'm using Peaches and Cream in the color of red. This is a cotton yarn and it's on a cone for easier use. I have a crochet hook, 3.75 millimeters, a tapestry needle, and a pair of scissors. Before we begin, I'd like to encourage you to pull some of the yarn either out of your skein or off of your cone so that when we make our chain stitches, we do not have tension issues in the making of those stitches. So let's pull it out. Start with a tail about 6 to 8 inches. Let's place a slip knot on our hook. And let's begin. Let's start off with a chain of 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We're going to be starting at the center bottom, and this will be for the front panel. So we're going to skip our first chain. In our second one, let's make a single crochet. So to do a single crochet, we have our loop on our hook. Let's insert it into our chain, pull a loop through, and pull the loop through both of them. Let's continue across. Till we get to the end of the row. At the end of our row, let's chain 1 and turn our work. We're going to continue across with 10 single crochets. At the end of that row, chain 1, turn, and do 10 more. So for 2 rows, let's do 10 single crochets each row. Please pause your video and do those 2 rows. For row 4, let's chain 1 and turn our work. In our very first stitch right here, let's place 2 single crochets. Continue across with 1 single crochet per stitch. When you get to the last one, I'll meet you there. In our last stitch right here, we're going to place 2 single crochets. This row is called an increase. Chain 1, and this is what we have so far, where it's slowly starting to work its way out. Let's turn our work. In our first stitch right here, 1 single crochet, all the way across to the other side. Chain 1, and let's turn our work. And what we're going to be doing for the next series of rows, we're going to do 1 row increase, 1 row of the straight number. So this row is now an increase. Let's place 2 single crochet into that first stitch. 1 single crochet across till you get to the last stitch, where you will add 2 single crochet, and I'll meet you there. You can see that our shape is slowly taking place. This row I just completed has 14. Every time you add on an increase row, you should have an even number. Our last row had 12. Now that we have 14 on this increased row, the next row will have 14 as well. So continue these 2 rows until you get to the width that you would feel comfortable with. I will let you know in just a second how many rows I've added. Here I have completed the second row of the 2 repeat rows with 28 stitches. So let's chain 2, turn our work, skip that first chain, and in our second chain, 1 single crochet. Maybe a little tight, take your time with it. In our second one, we're going to place 2 single crochet. And then across our row, we're going to add 1, and I'll meet you down here at the end of the row to show you how to finish it. So at our last stitch right here, we're going to place 2 single crochets, because this would be our increase row anyway. All right. Then, using the last half of this single crochet, I'd like for you to yarn over and do a half double crochet. Okay. This will cause it to stretch out just that little bit, as we did on the other side. Okay, let me do that again. I'll take out that last part of that stitch. So after the 2 single crochets right here, just picking up part of that last single crochet. So we got our finger on our loop, yarn over, go through part of that last single crochet and create a half double crochet. What that's going to do is it's going to add another stitch without putting it in the actual last stitch. Okay, now we're going to chain 1, turn our work, and then do 1 single crochet in each one of the stitches across. And once you get going, you'll see how this is going to cause it to have a better coverage over the leg without it looking like it doesn't fit properly. So here, let me put this down and I'll show you what I have here. So you can see here how it's starting to curve a little bit more. Okay, so continue on to the end of the row and I'll show you what to do for the next row. So I know you're oohing and on because you can already see the curvature here. So we're going to repeat that row one more time. So let's go ahead and chain 2, turn our work, 1 single crochet after skipping that first one, twisted on me, finger on the loop. That's why it's important. And then the next stitch gets 2 single crochets. You may be asking why 2. Okay, this also helps hold this out. Those 2 stitches there helps with that right there. Okay, so 1 all the way across till you get to the end of the row right here, where you'll put 2 in the last one and then the half double crochet into a portion of that very last single crochet as we did before. Then you'll have the chain 1 and then the full row of 1 single crochet all the way across, and I'll meet you there. So now that we have the curvature here that we need a little band so that we can put our corset tightening on both sides. So let's chain 1, and you will 1 single crochet per stitch across. We will do this for a total of 8 rows. So 1 across, chain 1, come back, and we'll just go, so you should have a band this wide when we're done. So go ahead and do that, and I'll see you in a few minutes, and then we'll start working from the bottom here on our back side. At the end of 8 rows, here is our shape. Okay, so let's take our scissors, cut our yarn, pull it through, and using our tapestry needle, we'll go ahead and weave in the ends on the wrong side. Since we don't know which one's the wrong side yet, I'll save this till the end. So we're going to flip the front side of our bathing suit bottom here over, and we're going to start adding stitches right here along this edge. Let's go ahead and place a slip knot on our hook and we'll get started. Now, since I am right-handed, I am going this direction. So I flipped it over and I'm going to crochet over my tail, which will make 1 less end I have to weave in. And at the same time, I will weave in or crochet over this tail as well. But first, we're going to start with a standing single crochet. So let's make sure we get our working yarn on our hands. We don't want to put our tail in. I've done that before. That's no fun, having to rip it all out. Okay, then we're going to pick up, draw up a loop, take our tail, and we'll go into that middle of our stitch here and finish off our single crochet. Okay, we can adjust all of our stitching here. Then I'm going to bring over the tail from the left side as well, and into my next stitch I'm going to have tails going all these directions, but it's going to be covered by our next single crochet. There, now that we got both of those locked down, continue across till you have a total of 10 single crochets like what we had in the beginning. Now that I've turned my work over, you can see where I have both of my tails coming out from between. Place your finger on one end and pull, and then pull. And do the same for the other side, so that way there's no looseness in here. And when we pull it back this way, it will also fill in with whatever. Okay, so go ahead and cut it. Try not to cut your stitching. We don't want to have to get back in there and fix them again. Okay, now let's flip our work back over, chain one, and then turn it back, single crochet across the row. We're going to do this for a few rows. If you give me a minute, I'll let you know exactly how many. Okay, so I went back and placed a stitch marker on the row so I can identify which one I started on. So the row that we did our tails on is row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've done 6 total rows here. So if you can go ahead and pause your video, we'll get started after you complete your 6 rows as well. Let's chain 1, turn our work. So in our first one here, we're going to do as we did before. We're going to place 2. We're going to single crochet across to the last one, where we will place 2 in the end, and then 1 row across of all single crochet. Please do those 2 rows and pause your video. Chain 1. Let's turn our work. In the first one, we're going to do 2 single crochet. In the second one, we're going to do 2 single crochet. Stitch across till you get to the last 2, where you'll add 2, and the very last one, 2. Chain 1, turn, 1 single crochet all the way across. Now you'll notice a significant difference if we take and fold this at the same area, the same direction of when we started our increases. The back side is going wider, which is what we want. Okay, so what I am projecting here is that after, let's see, after we chain 1, let's turn our work around so that it doesn't go too far out. I'm going to have you do a 4-row repeat. And what I mean by that, we're going to do 2 at the first of the row, 2 at the end of the row, and then you do 1 across. The third row would be 2 at the first, 2 at the second, all the way across, 2 before the last one, 2 at the last one, chain 1, turn your work, and 1 single crochet all the way across. I'm predicting that is going to work just fine. And yes, you can tell I'm guessing as I go along. But I'm going to go ahead and do this, and for the sake of video, we'll know our answer. So I'll put up here what we're going to do, and we can follow from there. So as you can see here, I continued on with the 4-row repeat, I did it 7 times for a total of 28 rows. And to show you what the difference is, here's where we joined down here. This is the front with our little belt area. And you can see how it's widened considerably. All right. After you do the 28 rows, double check it onto yourself to make sure that it's the right height that you need. After you've done that, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing we did right here. 8 rows of straight single crochet so that we can have our corset sides to finish this. So I have 2 things going for you. The 28 rows of the 4-row repeat, and then the single row of 8, and this will complete our bikini before we start the sides. At the end of your 8 rows, leave a long enough tail. Let's finish it off and weave this in on the back side. So here's what we have. Front side, back side. Let's go ahead and create 2 chains of 200 chains each. This will be part of the corset sides. So here you see I have placed the bikini bottom on my mannequin, and as we go around here to the side, what you want to do is take a ruler, measure from side to side, and then times it by 6. That'll help you to get the amount that you're going to need for the corset fit here, plus you want to add a little extra for the tie. So to make things a little bit easier, I'm going to show you how we're going to go ahead and attach these strings. You want to come down to the 8th row. Oops, put my hook in the wrong end. I'm going to start at the bottom, and then we're going to go across. And then across. Okay, we'll do that for the bottom side too. It's kind of like tying your shoes, so that'll give you a better idea of how it's done. And then after you get it on, you can go ahead and tie it. Do this for the other side and you'll be complete with your bikini bottom. Now for these tassels, when using this cotton yarn, You really don't want it too long, but it is a personal preference. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap it around my hand. I'm going to go 4 to 5, maybe 6 times. And where you started, you also you want to stop there. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this here and cut this right here. I don't want my tassels to be too big, so I'm going to make it so that I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I have 6. Okay, then at the end of the chain I left a long tassel, a long tail. If you don't have a long tail, it's okay. It's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through, we're going to take this and fold it in half, and then take the chain and go back, or the tail, and go through the chain. Okay, and that'll get it started. And then we're going to bring that one end down. I'm going to turn my work here, and then I'm going to bring this down so I can create like a half hitch. So what I'm going to do is bring the tail through that open loop and bring it down just enough, and I'm going to go backwards and wrap it around a few times. Okay. And then after I do that, I'm going to take my needle and thread it. I'm going to tighten this back up. Okay, I'm at the top, so I'm going to drop it down through the bottom. And you see how I come up? And that'll help lock that in. Then I'm going to go back around the top. I'm going to go around twice. So here's 1 and 2. Then I'm going to go back down through that circle. And then cut the excess. Oops, making a lot of noise here. Cut the excess at the same length. And of course you want to take your ends and then cut them all to the same length. That's how I do my tassel. You're going to find it's very simple, and it'll stay right there. So go ahead and do that, and we're finished. I'll meet you in just a minute to show you what mine looks like. So here we have the finished look. Here's the sides. I hope you enjoyed this crochet tutorial. In the description, you will find the link to do the red bralette so that you can have a complete set. I hope to see you then. Come back for another crochet tutorial. My name is Garnet. I hope you subscribe to my channel, like this video, and please make any comment of something that you would find of interest that we can make together. Till next time, bye-bye.